a study that there's an interaction of variables. An interaction, what I found is that it's when two or more independent variables are involved in a research design.
Yeah,
there's more to consider than simply the main effect of each of the independent variables or factors. So that's what I guess interactions. So if something interacts in a study,
yeah.
What do you think about that? See, yeah, that was kind of what I had for that one. That was just the definition of interact. Even though we wanted it in our own words, that wasn't really my own words. But yeah, we could use that or.
So I can also add to your definition as an interaction happens when an independent variable has a distinct effect on the outcome depending on the value of another independent variable.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's an option.
No, that's great.
We can like put it together and try to but I'm ready to write. So guys, you can.
Okay. So you had the first one. Do you want me to read, or we already know the second one because you just said it out loud. Let's just use the one that you, because it's basically the same thing as what I said, except a little bit clearer.
So that will be like the answer for the first question, right? Because we haven't.
Yes. For the first part of the first question.
Got it.
I think though, when researchers indicate, I think in order to indicate it, like, in order to indicate the interaction of variables, you have to have the independent variables like crossed.
Sure. Okay.
To find the interaction. So you have to like cross them. Because I think it's asking like, how do researchers indicate a study? But I think all three of what we said is correct. We just need to like word it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Interactions are found in many areas of psychological and other sciences. Read the appropriate chapter in Stanovich that discovers. Let's see. I can't read my own writing. Something. Oh, interactions and multiple causations.
Interaction.
Okay, causations. Wait, and then I is that the third part? Yeah, because I watched the finding interactions thing, or I read it, the thing that was like he had like a link on here for us to read.
Mm-hmm.
And I read that. It's just like, yeah, it's just a short summary of the concept. It's basically the same thing that we were just saying.
Okay, we are in the second question of
the second one, yeah.
The one that says, what does it mean when research indicates in a study that there is an interaction?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So define the interaction in your own words, which is kind of just what Kenny just said.
I got that.
And I'm gonna make the Google Doc with all of us on it, and then Oscar, you can just copy and paste it to the Google Doc. Does that work?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Oscar, what is your
my email? I will put it on the chat.
Okay, cool.
You real quick. Send it.
Perfect.
Okay. So read Stanovich and then synthesize the meaning of interaction counts. So we did that. So pretty much like interaction, the ones that say interaction are found in many areas of psychology, psychological and other science. The ones that says A and B, those are pretty much like reading.
Right, which I did read those, but I don't have my notes on them. I don't know if I just didn't take notes, but I read them both, and I can't remember now what what they said because I didn't write anything down. Well, I wrote the link between family background and academic success. So that's like the next one. So I want to stay on this one, but yeah, I just yeah. I don't,
if we can observe plot 5 through plot 8.
Oh yes.
Interaction, which is I have a little definition for that.
You said view as a graph.
Yeah, view as a graph, bar graph.
Okay.
This will help you to recognize interactions when encouraging them reading journal articles. So that, yeah, that's pretty much like we have to observe those graphs, and then we jump into the part C, which is like reading family background and academic success.
Okay.
Which is talking about more about their family structure and how the how kids on high school and how kids on college, there's a huge impact with parents are involved in the education. Like for example, so I have this definition: results of children who graduate high school are at a normal high low because one of both parents members contribute to the child family structure. However, the probability of children getting a bachelor degree and graduate are depending on the involvement of both parents, which is mean that all the kids are pretty much on normal level to graduate high school, but depends of the parents are after that step. You know, if both parents
Right.
are, well, it doesn't matter if it's both parents are married or one is a single or the other one is remarried. It depends on the influence of the parents that are going to be involved in this kind of education. That's
Yeah. Did he want an example of that? I'm trying to think, because I just watched that Steve Jobs commencement speech where he talks about how his parents put him up for adoption so he could live with a family that would help him graduate from college.
Right.
And the whole thing is interesting because he didn't grow up. Part of his life wasn't about going to college, but then he was adopted by these people, and that was all that they strive for. And he actually ultimately didn't graduate from college, but he was Steve Jobs. But I thought that was interesting. Like their influence on him was still enough that he was successful. But I don't know. That just made me think of that. I don't know. I guess I agree with that. I mean, we're supposed to just, I think that's true. I mean, of course, your home environment. It seems kind of obvious to me, but
because like it really says in this Stanovich book, it's a probability. It's not like for sure a both parent has to be, because in my case, I only grew up with one parent, and here I am trying to graduate college.
Right.
But yeah, the probability is like the more parents are involved, it's like there's more probability that
I think there's some cases where it's like, or the opposite is the case, like, or somebody who nobody went to college and then they're like the one person and it's a really big deal. But that's obviously like the outlier, like the standout thing.
Well, that's
one. I feel like it's so subjective, right? So like me growing up, I had one parent. My dad passed away young when I was young, so like I had one parent that raised me, but I'm the youngest, so I looked up to other figures. So I don't think it's necessarily like a statistic that directly correlates to having a two-parent household is going to equal like success. Because some people do have two parents and don't do well.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right, of course. And you had older role models. I think it's just a matter of somebody there that is,
right. So,
I'm a single mom. My kids are definitely more influenced by each other than anything. I think more so than my ex-husband is not much of an influence at all. I mean, he sees them on weekends and stuff, but for me, there's too many things going on for me to worry so much about. I mean, I worry about their academic stuff, but when you're a single mother, you have to worry about everything else. And so I feel like I don't push them in that way, but they push each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So that's good. Is that, so that's the end of part. Yeah, that's B.
We think to this definition.
Are we what?
Will you guys want to add a little bit more to this definition for the final?
Sure.
We're on E, right now?
We are on,
because we're question 1, but did we go through all?
I know. I think we're still on. Wait, let's see.
Yeah, we are on. Well, we are about to start E.
Oh, okay.
Because but like it's said, A and B is pretty much like a reading.
Right.
Yeah.
Like theory, trying to respond C and D.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I did go to that website and look. It's just it just says like that the primary predictor for student academic success is a child's home environment. It basically is everything you just said.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Explain this in your own words. I think we all kind of said stuff in our own words. List concepts of arguments from Stanovich that explain the Mirabella website or message that income equals something attained times work ethic times unity of family structure. So what, basically that you make more money if you go to college and if you have two parents, or is that, is that
Yeah. Like basically, yeah.
I mean, I think like Shady was saying, it's not necessarily always the case. Like I don't know.
I mean, I think definitely having that isn't gonna hurt you, but like
Right.
also someone else could succeed like way more than you without having that. So I think it's a thing where it's like obviously that's not gonna hurt you, but it just depends on the person really.
I feel like it's a strange generalization to make, but yeah.
Yeah.
It almost seems kind of like, I don't know, because of that, if that's what you have, then that's what you have. But if it's not, and sometimes people have two parents that are terrible. So that's
Yeah.
a strange thing to
So
say.
use concepts and arguments from the Stanovich text to explain.
I mean,
Okay.
I repeat it, yeah, was okay. It's that income is equal to educational attainment times work ethic times unity of family structure.
well, obviously, if you watch a good work ethic growing up, that's going to affect you probably. But
Yeah.
it won't. It could just do the opposite. I just think that kids tend to rebel and be like, I have two like perfect kids. Like they're really good. Neither one of them has ever done anything bad. They've never been in trouble. Like, just I don't know how I got so lucky. And both their dad and I were not like that growing up, like at all. So I feel like they kind of tend to be the opposite of what they're, shown. I mean, not that we're that bad, but I mean, I'm definitely, by the time I was my kid's age, I kind of looked at them and I'm always trying to get them to like throw Halloween parties. And so they're just like, no, they're not. But so that for me as a parent, I think that part stands out as like, I don't think that's true as much as, and they're still going to do well and succeed. But I almost feel like sometimes it's like despite the way you were raised,
Yeah.
Okay, so we are, how can we add this to this?
I would just say like one argument can be made that it isn't necessarily always the case when, a good, even if it's a good work ethic and there are two parents in the home, children tend to do.
Well, I think question E is just asking us to explain, like
What that
not
means.
like to make up an argument, but to use like Stanovich's arguments and explain what the website's core message like means.
Okay.
And I think the education attain X work ethic X. Jesus, that's like a tongue twister. It's just like
the formula. We get it.
Yeah, the formula. It's just like basically like kind of like how family structure and like family like complexity like determines a children's well-being is basically like I think what that like formula is basically saying.
Okay.
That it just like what they think is that like this is going to determine the kids like, but that's not always true. But I think with this, I think it's just wanting
to know what they're saying. Oh, I thought he wanted us to argue back with that. So it's kind of like my instinct was to say no.
Oh no, because you could be right, but it just says use concepts and arguments.
Okay, but from
the text. So like I don't think it means our arguments. I think it just means like what the text says about it.
Okay.
And then it says to explain the formula.
Okay. We're gonna have to do another Zoom at 8:30 because I don't have the pro version, so we have to do it far out of time. Sorry. So let's see what time is it? 8:25. Okay, I'm gonna redo another Zoom and we'll set back at 8:30. Is that good?
Okay.
Hopefully Jason can join us. Okay.
So where'd he go?